Hey y'all, today's guest is Arthur Alligood. He is the musician behind Phoneswithchords. Yes, the legendary Phoneswithchords. The new album is called High Up on the Wheel Well, and it is out now. Arthur and I went in depth on the making of this new album, but also about his journey as Phoneswithchords. We talked about how he got into making music and things he's learned along the way, production techniques, songwriting habits, and we also talked about the tight-knit little community formed around Phoneswithchords. Shout out Nick Weber. As always, if you want to support what we do here at the Tape Club, you can do so at tapeclub.substack.com. That's where you can sign up to get cassettes mailed right to you. So if you're a cassette collector, go check that out. All right, enjoy my conversation with Arthur. Arthur, thank you so much for jumping on the J Card. Pumped to have you here. I appreciate you coming on and doing this.
Yeah, really excited to be here.
So I want to talk about the new album. It's called High Up on the Wheel Well. Is that right? And it is out now. Right. From what I was looking into, I think this is your 6th full-length album, which is pretty cool. Tell me a bit about what went into making this album.
A lot. Just it's been a record that I've toyed with making for a while. I always wanted to do something kind of a concept album about memories from my childhood. And I was trying to come at it at different angles. For a while I had an idea about like telling stories, like some of my family stories, and that being the album. And then that kind of fizzled out. And but it kept coming back to me. And just in the last year or so, memories, especially from summers growing up, just kind of like, I don't know, I would just kind of be thinking about these moments. Um, and I just started writing, just like almost taking the moment and then just trying to kind of get inside it, inside that moment musically, whether it be lyrically or just trying to create a mood instrumentally. And so that's kind of how it started. And then kind of my partner in crime, a guy named Nick Weber. He's a like very talented like mixer and master. He's also in a band called A Place for Owls out in Denver, Colorado. He's kind of become my go-to mixer and master. And so I just started sending him the songs and I was like, what do you think? Do you think we could do a record like this? And he was immediately like on board, like could hear like sounds and where I was going. And so we just started kind of like, I don't know, like just kind of like, it felt like we were kind of cutting through like a forest trying to kind of like pave our way on how this record was going to sound, what it was going to be. And um yeah, very, very rewarding process. The very probably the longest I've taken to do a Phones album. I usually get in a kind of like a mode and I do it pretty quick. But this one was like I kept kind of hearing the voice going, okay, just take your time on this. Just, I knew if it was going to be what it needed to be, it was not going to be rushed.
So
Yeah.
that actually leads nicely into a question I had here. I was going to
Yeah.
ask, in what ways was this maybe different than past albums? And it seems like you answered it. You took your time more with this one. When you were taking the time, was there like how did you decide like when you were going to sit down and write songs? Was there like a cadence that you stuck to? You're like, every Sunday afternoon I'm sitting down and I'm writing, or was it just if you felt it happened? Yeah. How did you kind of approach that part of it?
It was, I mean, for me, just because it's just not, you know, making records is not really my job, so it's always been finding the pockets of time, um, to be creative. And so, on the weekends, on like a Saturday and a Sunday, I'm getting up not super early, but I get in a routine and in the summers because I'm a teacher. So when I'm not teaching, I'm pretty much every day in the summer, I'm having some kind of creative time. I'm better in the morning. It's the afternoon I struggle, and later at night I'm not good as well either. So I usually earlier in the morning I just started kind of like approaching it instrumentally first. Almost all of these songs were written instrumentally, and then after I kind of lived with the vibe of the instrumental, then I would begin to put lyrics to it. Traditionally, I've written with what we think of songwriting. It's someone with a single instrumental guitar. They're in a room and they're like hammering out a song. This wasn't that. This felt very much like I'm not in any way classically trained or anything like that, but it felt more like composing in my mind than it did traditional songwriting.
Probably in the
So
sense that
yeah,
like you had ideas that you were acting upon rather than just kind of seeing what happens.
yeah. Yeah, and then like there are a couple songs that like even up to the end before I sent them to Nick to be mixed, I was like, I don't even know if this has lyrics. And then there would be like kind of at the last minute, I'm like, oh, I could repeat this phrase or so it's very like I don't know. I feel like every song kind of just had I, I don't know. I got in this. It's a very contemplative like type practice where you're just kind of listening to the mood and the feel of the song, and then just trying to kind of follow where it was going. It was just really it really taught me a lot about writing. You can always approach it in different ways. I think we're programmed to think that, songwriting is like a group of people in a room hammering a song out or one person doing that. But there's so many ways to kind of get into a song. And I'm just realizing like I want to do that more where it's not, so just like, I don't know, like it feels more like I live outside of Nashville. And so like that, like right now, there are three people in a room trying to write a song. And so it's totally the antithesis of that. So
It's really interesting. I didn't know that you lived outside of Nashville. So you kind of are
yeah,
closer to that sort of like corporate, like everyone
yeah,
writing, music being a career than most people are.
yeah, yeah. So yes, it's wild. Like I grew up in Middle Tennessee, and so I never lived in Nashville proper, but I've always lived in kind of out the suburbs, and um, yeah, I fell into that in my 20s and a little bit of my 30s trying to kind of fit that mold. And then I just slowly been pulling away from that. And then phones was just the whole idea for this project was just to kind of like do whatever I wanted and not really feel like I had to follow some kind of tradition or rules or anything like that. So
Yeah, that makes sense. It's interesting. It's got me thinking, like, just about again it being the sixth album, and you've been making these for a while.
yeah.
What are some ideas or some techniques, or whether it's about songwriting or the production itself, that you've kind of
Uh-huh.
learned over the years? Because obviously, right, you
Yeah.
just mentioned just the idea of working on these longer, right? That's one. But are there
Uh-huh.
any more specific kind of like production techniques that you've kind of come across over the years? And I assume you record your own stuff, right?
Yeah. So I like this is what kind of like actually my oldest daughter, it's her old room, and so we kind of converted it into an art room and a little studio. So yeah, I came into phones not knowing really that much about recording. And so if you like listen to the first phones record, it's very um like it's lo-fi because I didn't know how to not make it lo-fi. That makes sense. So yeah, along the way I've just and working with Nick Weber has been really encouraging too, because like there's not really a wrong or right way to do it. And I thought, especially like going back to living outside of Nashville, like there's just a way that they do things. You hire a producer, you pre-production, it's this whole process, and I have much respect for it. But I never got to grow in production when I was just kind of handing off those duties to a producer. And so just working on my own stuff, I'm like, okay. Like I'll send stuff to Nick and I'm like, how did you get it to sound like that? I'm like, I don't really know. I'm just kind of like messing around and twisting. And so I guess the biggest thing I've learned is just to be curious, and like there's no real like, this is the way to do it. And if you're not doing it this way, then you're just like, you're way off or something. I think just people following their intuition. Like if they want to run an acoustic guitar through a distortion pedal, then try it out. Why, I think that the thing that kind of hindered me was just that I thought, oh no, those are the professionals, and I'll just write the songs. And then I realized like you can really do whatever you want, and there's not those rules. So yeah, that would be the biggest thing I would tell people is just follow your ear. What are you hearing? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Like there is literally no wrong answer I guess unless there's a client, and then if there's a client, then whatever they say is right. Yeah. But like, yeah, same thing. Like in music, filmmaking, any art, it's like, it's kind of whatever you want to do. That's the beauty of it, right? You're able to do anything you want to do. It's a blank canvas. Yeah. I want to go back to something that I read in a past interview you did. I think you'd mentioned that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when you got your first instrument, your instinct was to start making your own songs rather than learning covers and stuff like that. Do you remember what some of those early song ideas were, and did they ever go anywhere?
I don't remember like lyrics or whatever, but I do remember, like growing up here, like in the South, it's kind of like typically it's becoming less common, but when I was growing up, like typically your opportunities to play music were in the church. And so I remember writing a song, and my youth minister asking me to play it, and I was like mortified. I was so nervous. And I remember I played it. I don't remember anything what it was about, but I remember even some of the picking patterns, but it was it was a great opportunity just to kind of like low stakes. You're not going to be like, it's not like playing your first song at a bar or whatever, and you could get booed or, none of that, so it was good for that, just to build my confidence. But, going back to playing, like, I just remember getting the guitar and not knowing even what chords were, but I just remember sitting with the instrument and feeling like there was just like the possibilities were just endless. That I just felt like, man, so much can be done with just this one instrument. And I sensed that. And I don't get me wrong, I learned like I think the songs I learned early on were like Wonderwall and like Sweet Home Alabama, maybe Layla played very badly. But but then like it was very quickly like, yeah, like this does nothing for me. Like it kind of like it legitimizes you in other people's eyes, like when you can play a song that they know. But for me, it's just like it just kind of left me like wanting, like this doesn't do anything. And then when I started writing songs, I'm like, okay, this is it. This is the thing. Like, so, yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And when I read that, it was really interesting to me because that's pretty much exactly what I did. I was like,
oh, very cool.
Even to this day, like when I sit down, sometimes I'll get like an inkling and I'll be like, man, I really want to like play this song because I've been hearing it a lot recently. And then I'll
Yeah.
mess with it for like 10 minutes. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm done. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
because sometimes you think this is this magical thing and you pull up the chords and it's like,
Yeah.
it's D and A and G. And you're like, okay, so it's like not that crazy, I
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah. I had a recent moment. My best friend, his daughter is starting to play guitar, and we were going through the new Olivia Rodrigo album, and she was just like, see if you can play this one. And, and it was kind of a fun exercise to like, to hear those songs. And then when I figured them out, it's just like, this is like three, maybe four chords. And it's just like, these are monster hits. And it was cool to like teach her the songs and, like, it was, you just like demystify the whole thing. And it's like, it's just so accessible. But when you hear it as a huge pop hit, it's like, whoa, what's going on here? But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's the coolest thing because you just sort of I don't know, you mentioned earlier about how like when you first see this guitar, you're like, holy shit, the possibilities are like limitless. There's so
yeah,
much cool stuff. And then
yeah,
as you like play and learn,
yeah,
you're just like, oh, that's just a like D but inverted and like on the seventh fret
yeah,
instead of like in the first
yeah,
position. Or you know what I mean? So it's like
yeah, yeah,
it sucks because it sort of kills the magic, but at the end of the
yeah,
day, it's still
yeah,
really fun to play like a some super basic thing as long as it's layered with the other basic thing, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So let me ask you real quick about the
Hmm.
release of High Up on the Wheel Well. So
Yeah.
what's the plan with it? Like, do you tour on stuff? Do you play live? Like, what are your ideas on promotion and stuff like that?
Yeah. So it's really honestly stuff like this. It's just like, it's been a couple of write-ups and just on the record, and people have reached out, and I don't at this point have a budget for like a publicist or anything like that. And I don't even know if it would help me, honestly. But yeah, I just kind of like, I feel like my job is just to do the best work that I can on the recording. And then, I've worked with like tape labels in the past. Like the first record I ever did was this tape label. It's now defunct, but Z tapes. The Z tapes kind of like, that's kind of like how I got really started doing phones, was because they they put out that first album, and it kind of gave me a new audience, because I had done music under my name for years, but phones was something I just wanted a new start. And so yeah, so I mean, for me, I feel like if I've got a handful of people that are listening, and I get, like, people have DM'd me and like tell me, that they're really enjoying it and stuff, like, that's kind of at this point enough for me. Like, I don't really at this point see myself touring. And in recording myself, I've realized really my passion is just making stuff in the studio. I don't necessarily think I'm a natural performer. I think I've done that in the past, and maybe I'll come back to it. I'm open, but right now I really love being able to create something, and then having a small little base that I know, like, when I go back through my man cap, I mean, there's a handful of people that have bought everything that I've done, and that means more to me than, like, huge streaming numbers or any of that other stuff. So
Hell yeah. I love that
yeah,
answer. Because I
yeah,
basically feel the exact same way.
awesome.
Arthur, let's take a quick
Yeah.
break. When we come back, we're
Okay.
going to get into your mixtape. We are back with the mixtape, and this mixtape is looking good. There's a couple of favorites on here for me, but I'll let you
That's
tell me
awesome.
about them. Before we jump into it, why don't you let the
Yeah.
people know kind of where your head was at when you were picking these 6 songs? Was there a general theme going for you, or was it just sort of 6 you like?
Um, I don't know. I was honestly thinking about songs that kind of two categories: songs that have always kind of like stuck with me since they came out, or since I became aware of them. And then kind of like more recent songs that, um, like in the last couple of years that have been really important to me. So yeah, theme wise, I wasn't thinking about it though. We might could come up with a theme if we looked hard.
I was going to say a theme will probably emerge. I feel like that's how it
Yeah,
always goes. Let's start
for
with this
sure.
first one. The song is called
Yeah.
Snapping Turtle, and it's by S.G.
Mm.
Goodman. So tell me a little bit about why you picked this one.
SG Goodman is one of my favorite, like current favorite songwriters. They're from Western Kentucky, and it's just to me some of the best Americana kind of country music out today. Snapping Turtle is it's this story of coming up. She talks about coming up on a group of kids and like out on kind of a rural road, and they're like essentially torturing a snapping turtle. And I won't ruin the song because it's one of the best narrative type songs that I've heard in a long time, and it weaves that story with kind of a love story too. And it's, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of almost like how Paul Simon will do that. A first verse will be about something, and then like second verse will be like, whoa, we just got really personal really quickly. So yeah, it's great. And it comes from a record called Planning by the Signs, which just came out. And I think Savin Turtle was nominated for Song of the Year, I do believe, with Americana Awards, and I think that's she got nominated for Album of the Year too. So yeah, it really speaks to me, especially just it just feels so local for me. Um, so yeah,
Hell yeah. Have you
yeah.
seen S.G. Goodman play live ever? Because if they're
I
contemporary,
have
right?
not. I've seen a ton of videos, and there was a recent festival that I caught a live stream of, and loved it. But yeah, yeah,
Because I was
big
going to
fan.
say, I mean, they've probably got to come through Nashville. Western
Oh,
Kentucky's
for
not too
sure.
far.
For sure. Yeah, yeah. I've got to catch this show for sure.
Maybe one day. For now, let's listen to a little bit of it. Here is Snapping Turtle by S.G. Goodman.
I couldn't help myself, and threw the turtle in the truck. Ooh.
Next up, we have Losing My Religion by the Pride and Joy of Athens, Georgia, R.E.M.
Yes.
Tell me a bit about why you picked this one.
I've been on an REM kick um the last year. And a little bit of connection. I was born in Athens, so a lot of my new album takes place on my grandparents' farm, about 30-40 minutes um south of Athens. So I don't know. I've just really been going through REM's catalog, and Losing My Religion came out when I was in high school, and I always loved it. But I was talking with my wife, and it came on when we were at a bar or something. I'm like, I just could not, like, I just like this song. And it's so oddly constructed song. Like, how is it that like the mandolin part is the hook, and then just I mean the way like the kind of sing talk whatever that Stike is doing, it's just I don't know, it's just like I just listened to it, I'm like, how did this like come to be, like, because I don't think, going back to writing, I don't think that anyone could sit down with a guitar and write Losing My Religion. It feels like it had to come as a band. Like it had to be like all these pieces coming together, because I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of like obsessed with it right now.
It's so
So
funny because it goes back to what you were saying about how there's like no right or wrong way to do anything, and
yeah,
it's like this. You never, in a million iterations of bands, you never would have been like,
yeah,
let's throw a mandolin on there, then Michael Stipe's like weirdo vocals. You know what I mean?
I
But
know, man.
it's pretty
Yeah,
cool stuff. REM are such a weird, cool band. And for all of the people who don't like them, I also totally
yeah.
understand not liking them. You know what I
I
mean?
get
I
it.
love them, but like,
Yeah, yeah,
that's the thing for me I always feel this way about vocals is like, if someone's criticism is I don't like the vocals, I'm just like,
yeah. Hmm.
that's totally fair because you can't,
Yeah,
it's
I
your
get it.
voice, your voice, you can't
Hmm.
really change it. And Stipe has that
Yeah,
kind of, you know,
yeah,
it can be a
yeah.
little,
He does for sure.
I do. My favorite REM stuff is the early stuff when it's really like. I feel like that's when he was like whispering more, and it was like the
Yeah.
guitar parts were all really like. I don't know how to
Oh
call
yeah.
them, but it was just a lot of like
Yeah.
Smithsy, almost jangly guitars. That's the cool
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's listen.
For
Let's
sure.
listen to a little bit of it. Here's "Losing My Religion" by REM.
Like losing my religion, trying to keep up with you, and I don't know if I can.
Next up, we have a song called "Like a River" by past guest of the show, friend of the show, Josaleigh Pollett. And you mentioned, Arthur, Paul Simon, and this ties in very nicely here. But tell me a little bit about
Yes.
this tune.
Yeah. So Josaleigh has become, she's one of many uh internet friends, and we have not been in the same room yet. It's gonna happen. But just we've just kind of like just we're always commenting on each other's like posts, and I she does a playlist every week that just I always love. Like she just brings all kinds of different influences and things, and her music is like I just it's so I don't know, it's like electronic, but then it's like feels like earthy too. Like well, you hear her acoustic. Like I was listening back to the song today, and I'm like, I had almost forgotten there was even an acoustic in the song, and then I'm like, whoa! But it's like you could take these songs and totally like with her and a guitar, um, play play these songs. But yeah, this one stuck out to me because it does kind of have a little Paul Simon esque kind of feel to it. It also reminds me of Peter Gabriel in ways with the rhythmic, like the drums, the way they kind of like come in and out there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited about her new album, and I feel like it's I don't know. She just I loved her last album, and this one I don't know. Everything she puts out is just so solid.
Yeah,
So yeah.
when Josaleigh was on the show, we talked a little bit about this tune, and it actually was inspired by the Paul Simon song "Peace Like a River." So
No
that is
way.
why it's
Okay.
called "Like a River." So there you go, a little
Okay.
bit of knowledge. Um,
That's amazing.
yeah, it's a beautiful song. Let's listen to a little bit of it. Here is "Like a River" by Josaleigh Pollett.
Think that I'm gonna be up for a while. I think that I'm gonna be up for a while. I think that I'm gonna be up for a while.
Next up, we have a song called "Goal of the Century," and it is by Gang of Youths. So tell me a little bit about this one.
Yeah, so this is the closing track to Gang of Youth. It's their most recent album, Angel in Real Time. And out of all the records that really kind of like inspired me for my most recent album, this was kind of gave me a kind of a if there was a record out there that kind of gave me a kind of vision of what I could do, revisiting these memories and all that. It was this album. It's so cinematic. The strings on it, like this song "Goal of the Century" has like a good minute and a half kind of string intro, and then it's so gorgeous. Um, and the whole album is about the lead singer finding out after his dad, his dad passed away, he's finding out things that he didn't know about his dad, discovering that he's got like other siblings, and it's this whole the way it's mapped out. It's just I don't know. It's one of those albums that like if I push play on the first song, it's like I'm usually probably gonna listen to the whole thing. Like it just feels so like one piece of a piece of work or body of work. So yeah, I love how it closes the album, and that it I don't know. It just has a really cool feel to it. So
Do you remember the first time you ever heard Gang of Youths?
um I think I heard one song and I don't know what it was. I think it was off that previous album. It has light in the title. I forget what it's called, but I heard a song off that, and it was like it reminded me of like it's like kind of anthem rock. Like it was just very like kind of like Bruce Springsteen or something. It just felt so big, and I didn't totally get into them when I heard it, but when this new album came out, I don't know. It was like I have those albums. I'm sure you do too, where it's just like right place, the right time, and it's exactly what I needed for the moment in my life. And that when that Angel in Real Time came out, I was like, okay, this feels like something I need. Like there's something here for me. So yeah.
Hell yeah, I love that. Let's listen to a little bit of it. Here is Goal of the Century by Gang of Youths.
See what the undercard is about. You wanna go where the light is. Make the bastards say your name.
Next up, we have Bill Evans with a song called Peace, Peace. So tell me a little bit about this one. This is like a little bit of a departure, I feel like, from the mixtape.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not. I'm kind of here, hit or miss when it comes to jazz, but I forget how I discovered this song. I became aware of Bill Evans. He was um, like an amazing jazz pianist from, you know, 50s, 60s. He passed away. I'm not sure. Can't remember when he passed away, but I know this recording, Peace Peace, was great. It was 1958, and then Bill Evans played with like Miles Davis and all these, all kind of you name it, he probably played with them. And but this is not what you would hear when he's playing with a band. It's this one take of him playing these simple chords, but as it unfolds, his right hand starts to do all the stuff while his left hand continues to play these simple few chords back and forth. And it is like so accurately named. Like I listened to just a bit of it to, just preparing for this. And it's like, oh my God, this just fills me in a way. It's just so beautiful. Um, so yeah, I I will come back to it from time to time. Just like if I'm having like a really chaotic moment, sometimes I will just put this song on headphones, and I'm just like, okay, it's gonna be okay. Things are, but yeah, it's kind of what it's hard to describe because it I don't know. It's not like a medley of songs, or it's not like this. It almost it's just very free, and I like it. It honestly, it feels like uh, it's probably not how it happened, but I just like in my mind, I'm thinking like, oh, okay, if he was like working with Miles Davis or something and they did sessions all day, and then it's like after those sessions are over, he just steps back up to the piano. This is the piece you play. It's almost close out the day. Yeah. So it's really powerful.
Do you play piano as well, or mostly guitar? Or?
I dabble. I've never played publicly. Like obviously with recording, I can get by with like a MIDI controller, but I just last year I kind of just to kind of force myself. I was given an old upright piano, and I never got it tuned. It's just sitting in kind of our in there, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this tuned, and if I get it tuned, and it's been good. Like I I'm not sure that I'm better than I was, but I will write on piano, even though I don't know what I'm doing, because I'm sure with your music as well, it's like approaching it with on an instrument, not your primary instrument. It really opens some doors that like that guitar there. It's not gonna happen. So
Yeah, for me, for the album I'm working on right now, I started a lot of songs with bass because I don't normally play
yeah,
bass. And I was like, let me just start them with bass chords. I was like strumming bass chords to try to figure out what to do. And it totally changes the entire thing. But
yeah,
the reason I was asking about the piano is because I was thinking there needs to be maybe an EP, because maybe an album's too much, but a Phones with Chords EP that's Bill Evans
yeah.
inspired. I think that'd be cool.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah, I would love to do. Um, I've I want to do an instrumental record. I've been thinking of that for a long time. I don't, but I don't know. Like I'm not sure where I want to approach it. So that's actually a good, really good idea. That could be really cool.
Next time you
And
hear piece, all you'll think about is, man, what's my piece gonna be?
exactly, yeah.
Let's listen to a little bit of it. Here's Piece by Bill Evans. And finally, the closer, we have a song called Blindsided, and it's by Hovvdy. So tell me a little bit about this one.
Yeah, I got into how I guess when this record, I think it's called True Love Waits. I think that's what it's called. It came out, I guess like 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. And I I got the tape and I just wore it out. Um, and that Blindsided is, it just feels like summer. It feels like childhood. The reason I included this song, it's just, there's a line from the kind of the feeling of the song to a lot of this new record for me. Um, like he at one point talks about like listening to Avalon, and stuff like that. It's just um yeah, I don't know. It just has this feeling to it, just like I get the idea being that you kind of like growing up is kind of being blindsided. Like you're a kid and you're just doing your thing, and then all of a sudden you're like, "What? I gotta like do something, like something in my life." So yeah, like it's really really cool, and I love how like Howdy is like they're like touring with Wilco and doing their thing. So good for them. Yeah.
You mentioned listening to it on tape. Is that something you frequently do? Do you listen to a lot of cassettes?
Well, I had a car that is now just dead, and it had a cassette player. So there was a window a couple of years ago where I was lucky enough to be able to listen to tapes in the car, and then that car died, and I was like, it's like I don't. It was one of the situations where the car was a gift from a friend, and so it's like I wasn't seeking to find a tape deck, a car with a tape deck. It just kind of fell in, and I enjoyed it while I could, but yeah, I'll be honest, I don't really listen to a lot of tapes like at home. It's usually, you know, um, headphones or sometimes vinyl, like on weekends, like Sunday afternoons, we'll put on the record or something. But a lot of times I'm listening to music just on the go when I'm doing other things. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm right there with you. I've mentioned it before on the show. I don't really listen to tapes. I collect them, but I don't listen to them. It's like it's just not that convenient. I just can't do it. I'm sorry, tape heads. I apologize. Let's listen to a little bit of Blindsided by Hovvdy.
Drums in the living room, early memories of you, magnolia tree. You said you could see you in me.
That's it. That is the mixtape. 6 awesome songs. I don't know if we found the through line. I don't think there was one, but maybe the through line was that they're all just great tunes. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any honorable mentions that you had that didn't make the list? Any artists who you would love to shout out, but you didn't have room because you only had 6 songs?
I mean, I can't not shout out my partner in crime, Nick Weber. I feel like he is so slept on. He is such a good songwriter and producer. Like, I mean, his band that plays for Owls, they're wonderful. But his solo stuff is really, really good. Like, and he's such an unassuming, or not, I mean, unassuming's not the word, but such a humble guy. Like yeah. So I really love his stuff. And then there's just like countless people.
Well, that's the tough part about the honorable mentions is that it always puts people on the spot, and then they're like, "Oh, I got to name everybody." But we can leave it at Nick. I mean, that one honorable mention is good. Shout out Nick Weber. Look, we've mentioned Nick in the first segment. We've mentioned him in the second segment. Now,
there you go.
Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to play a game, and you can find a way to shoehorn Nick into the third segment. We're going to make it happen. We are back with the game, and this game is one that everyone knows and loves. It's called Play, Pause, Stop. The way it works is I'll give you 3 topics, and then you will play one, you'll pause another, and you'll stop the third one. Sort of similar to like a red light, yellow light, green light situation. That's pretty self-explanatory. We'll start with an easy one. This one is going to be, let's call it instruments, guitars, synths, and percussion. Play, pause, stop on guitars, synths, percussion. How would you rank them?
I mean, I'm gonna have to play guitars because I can't escape that. So, I'll pause synths, and then I will stop percussion.
Interesting. Stopping percussion.
I don't. Maybe that's not the right move, but I don't know. I don't know. That has to be tomorrow, and I'll probably do the total indifferent. But yeah, I guess percussion is. I don't know. I'm not a drummer, so I don't do this well. So,
would you ever make an album without percussion? Because I'm not a drummer either, but it's like my favorite thing. Like I love listening to drums.
Yeah, I think my definition, because we're like with percussion, we're including just like full band drums, like stuff like that, like any. So I think maybe I was probably approaching it more like kind of how we put percussion in like auxiliary type things.
You're talking about like little shakers and maracas and stuff.
Yeah, like but yeah, I probably could change the synth and the percussion and pause. I could probably switch those, but we'll probably be here all day if I do this. So
yeah, it's like you said, I ask you some other day, it'll be a different answer. And really, you just want to play all of them, I guess. Sure. Next trio of items here is it has to do with a recording. So play, pause, stop on these 3 things. Recording in your room by yourself, that's one option. Recording in a small studio with one other person, That's the other option. And then the third one is recording in a big state-of-the-art studio with a full crew. So play, pause, stop on those 3 recording situations.
This one's really easy because I just feel like it sums up what I'm already doing. So play, definitely me in a room by myself. Pause, recording in a, modest studio with one other person. And completely 100% stop recording with a bunch of people in a bigger studio. Though there's something in the back of my mind that says that one day I'll get back to that, but Phoneswithchords, it's me doing that because before I did that, and I just, like we talked about Nashville here in town, and it just, I don't know, it sucked a lot of life out of the, the joy of music. So.
Yeah, I feel you. That's a great way to sum it up. For me, who's never been on that side, I'm like, I would love a big studio where I'm in control of everything. That'd be so fun.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I mean, it's great. It's just comes down to what people want. So yeah.
The last one here is it's about how you listen to music. So the 3 options you got are streaming music, listening to physical media, and going to live shows. So play, pause, stop on those 3 things.
I feel so boring when these questions. I'm like, there's like this immediate answer in my brain. I mean, I've had to be honest about my daily living. I'm streaming a lot of music, whether it be Bandcamp or Apple Music or whatever. Yeah, I don't go to a lot of shows, but I aspire to go to more shows. So I don't. I want to maybe pause that one. What was the other one?
Listening to physical media was the other one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I guess we'll stop that one because I don't. If I'm truly honest, and I like when I had the tape decks, it was great. Because I would order tapes a lot, from my friends that, or little tape labels. But now that because mostly when I'm listening to music is in the car. Yeah. So.
Hey,
yeah.
I don't blame you at all. Like I am literally I think you pretty much across the board, I agree with pretty much all your answers. From segment 1, where we mentioned Nick Weber, to segment 2, where we also mentioned Nick Weber, to segment 3, where we have not yet mentioned Nick Weber, but I'm sure it's going to happen. Arthur, take a little moment here to let the listeners and viewers know what you've got coming up, where they can find you online, stuff like that. And keep in mind, this comes out July 23rd.
Yeah. So, like we talked about, my 6th album, High Up on the Wheel Well, just came out. It's available for streaming pretty much everywhere and available for purchase on Bandcamp. I am doing a very, very short run of CDs, and so those are going to be going out in the next couple of weeks. But I started doing visual art during the pandemic, and so I post some of that stuff on my Instagram. So I'm doing like a CD and a little piece of artwork, and there's only 2 of those left. And that little things like that, like I'm doing 10 of those, and like just that people have bought those, it's like that's success to me. And so Instagram is really one of the main ways that I kind of keep up and post about things. I'm also on Blue Sky. I was on Twitter or X, which coincidentally is where I met Nick Weber and Josaleigh Pollett and that whole crew. And now I think a lot of them are now on Blue Sky, or we keep up in other ways. So but yeah, I'm just, if people are interested in like keeping up with my music, following me on Bandcamp is really really helpful. I post messages on that pretty often, and I put out a lot of music. So people are like looking for an artist that, like they want to like kind of follow someone kind of on a journey or whatever. It puts out a lot of music, and yeah, I'm there for that. So
Hell yeah, amazing. And
yeah.
like you mentioned about having just almost like a art project that you're working on and having a few people supporting it. That sort of is what we do here at the Tape Club. We have these little compilation cassettes after I just for like 45 minutes talked shit about cassettes, but we do have cassettes and they're pretty cool. You can see them here. This is the one from June 2026. It's a little pink cassette. And we have artists who submit their music. If you're an artist and you want to submit, you can do that at tapeclub.substack.com. But I think you'll see Josaleigh's name right there, I think, right? It's somewhere on there. So if you want to subscribe, listeners and viewers, if you aren't already a member, you can do so at tapeclub.substack.com. If you pay the monthly thing, it's $5 a month. And if you pay the annual thing, it's a discount. It's $50 for a year. And you'll get 4 of these compilation tapes as well as 8 Lucy tapes. That's over the course of the year. So pretty good deal. Less than $5 a tape. It's a great thing to do for all you cassette collectors out there. Arthur, I want to thank you so much for jumping on and making the time to talk to me today. I also want to give a quick shout out to Olivia Stonier, our associate producer, and Jamie Halliday, who helps with booking. And of course, listener, viewer, I want to give a shout out to you. Thank you for listening and viewing as always, and I will see you next time. Peace. The J-Card podcast is a fully independent production. It is made possible by listeners and viewers just like you. So if you want to support us, tapeclub.substack.com is the place to go.